Welcome to Matters of Business, brought to you by the College of Business here at Florida Atlantic University. I'm Amber, and this is where academic research meets the real world of business. Each episode, we sit down with faculty experts, student researchers, and business leaders to really unpack what's shaping industries today, whether that's from consumer behavior and supply chains to finance, economics, and executive education. If you're ready to stay informed and ahead of the curve, right here in South Florida, you're in the right place. Let's get into it. Today, we're talking about something every business owner, hotel operator, and employer in South Florida is either already dealing with or about to: artificial intelligence. We're going to be looking at what it actually means for the hospitality industry beyond the hype. My guest today is Dr. Anil Bilgihan. He is a professor of marketing and hospitality management here at FAU's College of Business, and he is one of the leading researchers on how AI and digital technology are shaping customer experience and the workforce. Anil, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So I really want to start off with the business case about the hospitality industry adopting artificial intelligence. Because when I think of it, I think that's maybe where most operators kind of heads are at. Like labor costs are up, food and beverage costs are up, guests might be a little bit more demanding, and it feels like AI is being positioned as part of the answer to these problems. So can you walk us through what the research is showing us?
Okay, that's a great question. So you are absolutely correct. Since 2020, after the pandemic, we've seen in hospitality industry a sharp increase in the labor costs, and the food prices are increasing, and the profit margins are narrower and narrower, and a lot of operators looking AI as the solution to reduce their costs, and whether that will be a way to actually save money. And we are seeing in the operations management, like we
Mhm.
are seeing in hospitality industry specifically, it works extremely well for pricing, what we call revenue management. This is from the airlines called yield management, looking into the demand and looking into uh, various sets of data. Now, hoteliers that they can utilize and they can maximize their pricing by utilizing artificial intelligence. So how does that happen?
Yeah.
So they have all the booking data. They know the seasonality patterns. They know now flight cancellations. There is uh the weather data. There is the online sentiments about like what people are saying, like real time from social media. So they can change their pricing dynamically very fast compared to the past. So let's say that I know that like there is a big event that is coming up. I also know that there is like a lot of flight cancellations. So I know that like some people are not going to show up, and the AI will tell me, like the revenue management software, saying that, well, you can actually sell a lot more rooms than what you have. So we are seeing like adoption in that part of the business to actually
Hmm.
increase the profitability. And some operators are also investing in the concierge services
Mm.
to deal with the labor issues, right? We've seen this also in the foods, especially in the quick service food sector. Right now, once you drive through a drive-through, usually that you will be talking with the AI. Because there is no one that is actually taking the food order. You're just talking to the machine, and this is automatically putting the kitchen management software, like taking the order, so the chefs are seeing what it needs to be prepared, but
Hmm.
it's like being now automated.
Interesting.
So we are also seeing these type of like cost reductions in the restaurants. So you can also analyze like utilizing again AI from your point of sale. You know what items that you're selling the most in what season, and you connect it with your actually purchasing software. So you can see which menu items are the most profitable and sells at what day, so that you can give the heads up to your chefs. So there are like so many use cases of AI. Like the
Hmm.
point is that do not only think about the chatbot, like
Yes,
there is a
yes, I
lot
think
of
that's what, yeah.
back of the house like type of things are happening with AI.
Is there, I know we talked about pricing and revenue management, the idea of ordering with an AI tool. Is there an area where we're seeing the clearest return on investment?
Okay, we are seeing the clearest return on investment in the back of the house, not in the guest-facing tools,
Hmm.
but the tools that actually the guests do not see in the
Okay.
background, right? So these are the highest return on investment.
So if we're looking at a large resort and a smaller independent property, is there a meaningful difference between what a large resort can achieve with AI versus what a smaller, maybe boutique property can?
Okay, so that's also a great question. If we look into the large hotels, they actually have a competitive advantage now because imagine that you're an operator that is managing like operating 125 hotels. You have more data that you can utilize. You can feed the AI. So the results that you see are going to be more significant
Mm,
compared to a boutique hotel. But also, smaller hotels can utilize AI and it gives them some edge that they did not used to have before, right? Like they can deal with, let's say that your front desk agent can now with the headphones, like real-time AI-based translation, like if a guest comes from, let's say, China, only
hmm.
speaking Chinese, your actually employees can communicate with them by YouTube. So
Yeah.
it is like for smaller operators, it's also giving some cool stuff. Like you might not have a concierge or 24/7 lobby that operates, but you can have the chatbot that is customized only with the data that you provide as the hotelier.
Mm,
So if someone like just asks for like my flight might be arriving like extremely late, and by the time that I take the Uber and all that come to the hotel, there is no one that I can ask for a late dinner or like these answers could be just answered by the AI, and this will give some advantage to the smaller hotels. And also, the smaller hotels did not used to have access to do some marketing. Right now,
that's very true.
they can do a lot of marketing that is like generated by AI as well. So it gives some competitive edge to the smaller hotels as well. Some tools that they were extremely expensive for them to utilize. Now they can do it in a uh, more democratized way, right? Like
Yeah.
they have some tools that they can use.
So when we talk about like investing into these AI tools, I think some people imagine, the free version of ChatGPT or some sort of massive enterprise investment system. So what does it cost for these properties to be implementing AI into their hospitality operation?
So that is a very wide spectrum, right? Like again, you could be a very small hotel and you can get like you know, pro version of like Perplexity or ChatGPT and just build like feed your own data, just have a custom AI bot for your guests. Also, you can utilize it for actually like the pricing and all that stuff, right? You can not necessarily all small hotels that they have people who are like really related to this pricing decision. So it can like you can feed the data, you can make some pricing decisions, and this will be very inexpensive.
Hmm.
But bigger hotels, they're using for anything from recruitment and they have using it for the GEO, which is the new search engine optimization, right?
Hmm.
Like people are not going to Google anymore to find like best hotels in Palm Beach. They go to the chatbot to say, okay, fine, what are the best hotels in Palm Beach? And the chatbot is going to give the answer. So some hoteliers are investing on how to improve their ranking on the chatbot so that their hotel pops up there. So that will be like like there is a spectrum. You can pay thousands of dollars a month for an
Hmm.
enterprise system, or you can help the pro versions just by, doing your like smaller tasks. um, by yourself. So it's a big spectrum.
Is there a learning curve as hotels kind of try to adopt this AI aspect?
Yeah, there is a learning curve. It is, and this quite regularly it happens anytime that I'm giving a little lecture or like a talk. People come and they say like, okay, there's so many tools and where can we start? And like once we install, like, once we implement, how we are going to actually utilize this. So there is a learning curve. And there's also a learning curve on starting where to invest, like
Hmm.
which tools to choose, what to do. And this is why like actually higher education becomes important. Like we can
Hmm.
provide some of the tools, some of the initial training for these tools. And apart from the learning curve, there is also resistance. Some of the employees, like we are conducting now research looking into the hotel employees and their uh, perception of these AI tools, and they show resistance because they think that it's going to take their jobs away. They say if they train the date like these AI, the algorithm, and they think that they will just lose their jobs in a time that actually operators can invest in these tools if they're less expensive than having a human,
Yeah.
then they will say, well, you're you feel that your days are numbered. So not only that there is the learning curve, there is also like a
The
big,
resistance.
yeah, resistance.
I do want to come back to that because I think that's a very, very interesting thing to dive into. But kind of jumping from that, is there a risk that AI ends up widening the gap between large hotel chains and independent operators?
Yes, there is. Yeah, that is again just like if the smaller hotels do not implement the tools, they will really fall behind. And this is like you can look this in a personal level as well, right? There's going to be like the cliche thing is that like the AI will not take your job, but it will be like a person who knows how to use AI will take
Yeah.
your job. And it is the same, like ho smaller hotels actually can do great if they invest in the right tools, like it
Hmm.
will create them edge. But there is also, yeah, it's the reality. Bigger hotels will have access to bigger resources. They will implement better
Yeah.
tools, they will be more efficient, and the little operators actually will struggle unless that they know how uh to play the game.
So I know you said your research is kind of pointing to this idea that hospitality workers are resistant to this change, but how are guests feeling? Because I imagine that hospitality is a very like one-on-one, like connecting experience. So how does AI kind of fit into that without breaking, I think, one of the most fundamental things about
Yeah,
hospitality?
the ethos of hospitality is the taking care of the stranger. It is very human,
Hmm.
right? Like everything that we do is to take care of the guest. And again, research shows on this one AI does not work very well in guest-facing tasks.
Hmm.
So you cannot have your like, check-in kiosk like for every guest. You may provide this as an option for people who want to just like a speedy check-in, like, but some
Yeah.
people will resist to that. They go to these places not only to stay, but also just like to be taken care of.
Hmm.
And so far, AI cannot do that. So research clearly shows that there is a big distinction between front-facing AI versus back of the house AI. So you can make it more human by making it more customized, right?
Hmm.
Like I will know a lot about my guest using those CRM tools. So I know the your preferred room temperature is like 72. So as soon as that you just like check in, that I can just set the machine will tell me,
Hmm.
okay, this is Amber's preference and she likes bottle of that specific wine. So next time that you will find that in your room, or I might know without being too actually invasive or creepy, that I can know a little bit about you and just like
Yeah.
personalize your experience, which adds to the human part as well. Let's say that like if I know that you are coming for your birthday or
Hmm.
for your mother's birthday for a stay, and I just like put, fresh flowers to the room and all that
Hmm.
stuff, it creates
Yeah.
a more human experience. And I do that by utilizing again the algorithm because
Mm.
like it inform the front desk agent saying that okay, it's Amber's mother's birthday and they might be coming for this trip. So it is, but if you just they have uh apart from research also there's also the operational realities. You may have heard about these robot hotels in Japan
Yes, I
and
have.
they
Yeah.
failed, right?
Yes.
Because people did not want to interact with
No,
these
yeah.
machines. So it is like you can utilize it for certain things, but it does not work for the others.
So when we're talking about South Florida specifically, what are guests actually encountering when they walk into a hotel when it comes to AI?
Okay, so a lot of the things are now with the concierge we are
Hmm.
seeing. Like guests are obviously not seeing the back of the house like AI tools, but most hotels now are providing the digital concierge so that you can ask like questions and all that stuff. That is one of the things. And the other is the self-check-in kiosks that's happening. A lot of the bigger brands they implemented the mobile phone self check-in, and you can use your phone as your room key and all that stuff, so you can check yourself in while you're still at the airport waiting for your Uber. And then you just like some people do not like to talk to people and they want it to be quick. So there is like you have to understand your target segment really well. And if it works, it is good to provide them the option.
Hmm. So when it comes to an AI concierge, I feel like I'm still wrapping my head around it because I think like we mentioned before, when I think of a concierge, I think of someone who like sends wine to your room when you ask for it, knows the hotels, like the restaurants, like the neighborhood that the hotel is in, like very intimately. So I guess my question is, how is AI able to replicate that and how exactly is it working?
Okay, so the one advantage of AI is that your concierge still needs to go back home and sleep and get some rest. And the
Very
machine is
true.
like working 24/7. And it can, you as the like your hotel specifically, just do not think about like talking to a regular chat bot, like on such as like ChatGPT. Imagine that like all data that's is being trained on is coming from my hotel. So I, as the local operator, build relationships with restaurants around the businesses around, and I just say that okay, if a guest asks for a like a boating service, this
Mhm.
is the company. Like, and so the chatbot will not give a generic answer, but it is going to be that concierge that you have at the hotel that knows the local
Mm,
attractions, have the local connections. So you train your model based on the data that you provide. But still, like especially for the luxury segment, this will not replicate a real concierge that you will just see. And it
yeah,
is, for the smaller hotels, this will be maybe an advantage because they might not have the resources to actually have a real concierge, but they might use the digital one.
that makes sense. I do want to get into South Florida's hospitality workforce because, as we've mentioned, they've been through a lot, the pandemic, the Great Resignation, ongoing labor shortages, and now AI is entering the picture. So I know you touched on this a little bit, but I really want to dive into it. What is your research telling us about what's happening to jobs in the industry?
So the jobs are actually in South Florida. It is most hoteliers are actually having difficulties in finding people. So that's why the cost is also rising for the labor cost. So, but there is also so much uncertainty. right? And like if we look into specifically our region, South Florida, we had been blessed over the past few years.
Hmm.
Like the Palm Beach has the record number of visitors this year,
Yes.
right? So we are growing. Most people are moving here
Hmm.
and companies are moving here. The weather is nice. There is like a lot of beauty and there is also the tax advantages and all that. So South Florida had been growing and this has the spillover to the hospitality as well, right? The demand for hotels are increasing and workforce cannot keep up with actually filling those positions.
Hmm.
So AI can help hotels to deal with that,
Mm.
but there in the future, there is also so much uncertainty, just like any other industry, right? But one thing that I firmly believe is that hospitality is a people's
Hmm.
job. So I think it's always gonna stay that way. So some of the jobs could be replaced by AI, but in South Florida, I think these, especially in the hospitality industry, it will be enhanced by AI.
So are there particular roles that might be at risk with adopting AI?
Okay. So yes, I think so. Like for instance, the revenue managers.
Mm.
So this is again, the algorithm is setting the pricing. So you might have just like one regional revenue manager that is taking care of multiple properties. And there is the risk of like some of the marketing jobs. They're
Hmm.
gonna utilize the AI and but people facing jobs, I don't think that these will be at risk. But again, it is like if you just dig further, like I'm not sure whether you ever experienced these like little delivery robots.
I haven't.
No,
No.
so let's say that like you just need extra towel or like a toothpaste or something. You call the front office saying that this is what I need. Now there is like a little robot that is delivering you the what you've asked.
Yeah.
They can take elevators, like they just like go in the lobbies and all that stuff. And once they come to your room, they just like ring the phone and you just answer. You say, and it says that, well, your delivery is here. You open the door and it just like has a little lock. It unlocks after you open the door. You take your goods. So like this is a like a repetitive task, like
Hmm.
you don't need someone just running around carrying things. Like it
No.
could be inexpensively replaced by a robot. And these type of jobs probably will go away. And as we talked about, like the drive-throughs and all that, like also even in the kitchen now, they're investing heavily on the robots and all that. So it's like algorithms connecting with AI is creating a lot of uncertainty. So we'll just see, I guess, where it's gonna lead us to.
Are there some roles that actually might become more valuable with AI?
I think so. Like again, the people facing
Hmm.
jobs, like your and with the AI that you can also make your employees a lot more efficient and effective and
Yes.
more taking care of the guest, right? Like if I mean, it's gonna sound very futuristic, but let's say that if I have the Meta glasses and
Hmm.
I see you and I just am at imagine that I'm at an airline, like checking you in and I as soon as that I put your name, like I see where you're gonna fly automatically, like through the screen, like I can just make a lot of conversation based on what you actually need without
Mm.
having to uh, stop myself by looking at you, right? Like these devices are
Yeah.
just like gonna be, I think, more adapted in the future so that the guests are better taken care of. So guest-facing jobs, I think there is gonna be in demand, and some of the mid-level management jobs are gonna maybe not yet disappear, or there's not gonna be as high demand as it used to be.
So what does that mean for students going into hospitality? How should they be positioning themselves to be better prepared for a more AI dominated industry?
Again, they have to remember that like it is people skills are extremely important, right? We
Hmm.
teach them, like for instance, in my um, courses that I teach them how to use AI to do some data analysis because I
Hmm.
want them to be equipped with like in
Yeah.
how to use these tools, and they need to know how to uh, make themselves more desirable by learning these tools. But also, it is really important that working with these tools are not that easy when it comes to recognize what type of output it is generating. Like it is sometimes it is difficult to see whether it is giving you the real numbers because they still hallucinate a lot.
Yes, that's very true.
They still like provide some, you may ask a question and it gives a extremely convincing sounding response.
Hmm.
But if you are the matter expert, like you read and you say that this actually does not make sense. It's just like some words that are just
Strung
in
together.
there. And so if it like training themselves, knowing what is good, what is not, is also important.
Hmm.
So they have to train themselves on these devices and also focus on their like personal skills. We don't talk about this often, but in the uh, yearly that we are meeting with the some of the industry leaders and asking them like, okay, what do you want from our students type
Hmm.
of conversation. And always they talk about the soft skills, the people skills.
Soft skills.
So that, again, they have to focus on these, like how to be a good networker, how to talk to people. Like in hospitality, you have to anticipate people needs. You have to be compassionate. You have to show empathy. These are
Hmm.
like all skills that actually, uh, it will be very important. And other thing that I will suggest, I know that I might be like maybe going out of topic, but I suggest students to also be more interdisciplinary, like looking, they might be studying hospitality, but having an interest in, let's say, in world history and philosophy, like different, it's just like, especially with these tools as well, that it could potentially make them to see things differently.
Hmm.
And I think those skills will be very important. And research shows that, like, you may also heard with the CEO of NVIDIA and all that. Like, I studied computer science, and back then that programming was like, it was really hot.
Yeah.
And now they tell, well, you don't need to learn coding because like these machines can code
Yeah.
really well. So things change so quickly, but they say, well, like the humanities and all these things will also may come back as important areas. So
Yeah.
again, there's so much uncertainty, and it is important to know various things and being actually like understanding what hospitality is, which is the taking care of the stranger.
That's a very good point. I have one last question for you. If you are a South Florida hotel operator listening to this podcast right now and you haven't started thinking seriously about AI, what is the single most important thing you would want them to walk away with?
The single most important thing is that just start. Like it just start, because the more that you wait, you are gonna lag behind. And it is doesn't need to be perfect. If it is good enough, like you'll just experiment with it and just like
Hmm.
uh you'll have the momentum. So my advice will be just find your what you lack the most. Maybe like like the check-in time is long, or you have like some, like identify your number one problem and find a AI solution, and
Hmm.
then just implement it. Do not wait. And so it is like uh just do it will be my advice.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being here.
It's my pleasure.
Be sure to like, subscribe, and follow so you never miss an episode. And if this resonated with you, be sure to share it with a colleague. And I will see you all back here at the next episode.